Do you want to know the difference between regular diets and fasting? Well, let's pretend that this paper towel is a regular diet, and let's pretend that this paper towel is intermittent fasting. When you are fasting, you're not taking in any additional calories, so your body is able to tap into its existing body fat stores. I want you to imagine that each sheet of paper towel that I'm pulling off is a body fat store. Simply because you're fasting and not taking in calories, your body is able to continually just take off the body fat that it ordinarily wouldn't be able to take off. Now, when you look at the situation with a regular diet, every time you eat, you put it back. So then you take it off and you put it back. That's exactly why a regular diet ends up leaving you looking quite a bit the same as it did when you started it. Intermittent fasting is by far the most scientifically proven way to shed body fat as fast as possible. And when it all comes down to it, and you're a little bit of time into your fasting program, you can see the difference. Regular dieting left you with nothing. Intermittent fasting left you a lot thinner. So that's why I've created the science-based six-pack program.
What's up guys, it's Pete here from the Gaming Careers YouTube channel, and today we're going to be going over the ultimate guide to setting up your live stream with OBS Studio. A couple of advisories before we get started. This is a video guide on how to set up OBS Studio for PC, so if you're looking for a guide for Mac or for Xbox One or PS4, then check out the Gaming Careers YouTube channel for those appropriate videos. Secondly, this video is quite long. I really wanted to create a video that went into a bit more detail on the OBS Studio settings, because there's a lot of videos on YouTube right now that sort of recommend certain settings for your Twitch or YouTube stream, but really it depends on your computer specs and whereabouts in the world you are and what internet connection you have, as well as 100 other things. So I wanted to go into a little bit more detail to make sure that you got the best setup possible for your scenario. So since this video is quite long, I'm going to make it easy for you guys to navigate by putting timestamps down in the description below so that you can skip ahead to certain parts if you only require to know about certain settings. And I'm also just going to quickly go through what we'll be covering in this guide now. Firstly, I'll just go over a brief introduction to OBS Studio and the differences between OBS Classic and OBS Studio. Then we'll move on to downloading and installing OBS Studio. Thirdly, we'll be looking at the general settings for OBS Studio, so things like which Twitch server to stream to, what bitrate should you be streaming at, round up to take advantage of some of the newer hardware and software technologies that have come around since OBS Classic started development. Really, in short, this just means that OBS Studio will perform much better on newer current systems. As the previous name, OBS Multi-Platform, suggests, OBS Studio also works with a number of different operating systems, notably Windows 7, 8 and 10, as well as Mac and Linux platforms. OBS Studio also brought some new features, most notably Studio Mode, which is, I guess, why OBS Studio is called what it is. Studio Mode allows users to make changes to scenes and sources without having to change the output. You can then push these changes to live, so this helps with any kind of broadcasting or professionalism in your stream. They also added the ability to add filters. Some of the plugins became part of the actual program, most notably the browser source plugin, and all sources are global, but we'll cover more of those later on in the video. So downloading and installing OBS Studio, you want to point your web browser of choice to obsproject.com, and in the top left you should see some options to download OBS Studio for various different operating systems. Click the green button which matches your platform and download the installation file. Next, just go through the installation process as you would with any other program and launch the application. Once you've launched the application, it should look something like this, and it's worth just changing a couple of quick simple options before we get into the bulk of the OBS settings pages. Firstly, click the profile option and select rename. Rename the profile to whatever you'd like, but I would suggest using your Twitch or YouTube channel name. You can have as many different profiles as you like, and each of them will hold their own settings and stream sources and stream scenes. This can be useful if sometimes you stream to a different Twitch channel or for the purpose of a talk show or hosting a competition, etc. For now, we'll just be concentrating on using and setting up one profile. Next, we want to rename our source collection to, again, whatever you'd like. A scene collection is exactly as it suggests. It's a collection of all your scenes and their settings. Having multiple different scene collections is useful for those that stream different games and hence need slightly different setups for each game. Don't worry if you don't understand all the terminology right away. We'll get to that once we start setting up our scenes and sources. Right, it's time to knuckle down and get some real work done. The OBS Studio settings page may look intimidating, but once you have an understanding of what each setting does and what value is best for your setup, it's no harder than the installation. So let's get into it. Start by clicking the settings button in the lower right. We're going to work through these tabs one at a time. We'll start with the General tab. Choose your language of choice and also the option for different themes, dark or light. I prefer the dark theme, so I'm going to select dark here. The next two checkboxes give you the option of showing a confirmation box whenever you go live and or stop your stream. If you're worried about ever accidentally going live or accidentally ending your stream when you didn't mean to, this is a useful confirmation box to have. If you're going to want to record to your hard drive at the same time as you're streaming live to the internet, then check the automatically record when streaming box. This is pretty useful if you want to later edit your footage from your stream and you want to have a higher quality recording than what you can stream at. This may have a little bit of impact on your computer's performance, but it's unlikely to be too noticeable. If it does have too much of an impact on your computer and you still want to have saved VODs of what you've streamed live, you can use an online tool such as Twitch Down, which I'll link to in the description. This allows you to download your Twitch streams from the Twitch website, and then you can edit them after that. To finish off the General tab, there are some source alignment snapping options. In short, these allow for easier positioning of sources when setting up your stream, as they will snap into place with the edge of the screen or with the other sources. I recommend leaving these as default. Moving on to the Stream tab, the first option, Stream Type, can be left as default on streaming services. The first thing we may need to change is the server setting. The drop-down gives you a choice of which platform you're going to be streaming to. These include Twitch, YouTube, Hitbox, Facebook, and many, many more. I'm going to presume that the vast majority of people watching this video are going to be looking to stream to Twitch or YouTube, so I'll mainly just be covering those two options in this guide. If you're looking to stream to Facebook, Hitbox, Beam.io, or even multiple sites at the same time, please check out the Gaming Careers YouTube channel for videos on those subjects. Now for Twitch, the first question you're going to be asking is which Twitch server should I be streaming to? And usually most people recommend the one that is closest to you geographically, but that's not always going to be your best option. To determine which server is best for us to stream to, we're going to be using the Twitch Bandwidth Test Tool, which is an application we'll be downloading from the internet. It will not only help us determine the best server to stream to, but it will also tell us the maximum bitrate that server connection